All right, so I'm testing a new top of the hour alarm, which I'm going to explain in a minute. I just realized I can also snooze this, but I'm going to make an adjustment real quick, and then I'll tell you what's going on. All right, so I just have to realize how calendar's working. All right, so let me explain my top of the hour alarm. And I'm going to put this over into a slide. And I'll share it with you. Oh, let me share it first so you can see it. And I need to grab another window with it. I'll grab this. All right, so you can see it now. So top of the hour alarm, or it's actually an event. It's on the of course, it's top of the hour, and we have it could be any amount of time in advance. Right now, I've got it on. It's a on the persistent calendar at 40. I wanted to do 50. Oh, it's actually called almost top of the hour. Yeah, almost. And then now it's 7:50 right now. Oh, I know what I did wrong, I think. Yeah, sorry, I messed it up. Let me edit it again. We're going to do, it needs to be, I'll explain it in a second. Let's see, 7:50. Let's do 5 minutes before. All right. It's not on the persistent calendar. It's at the top of the hour. hide persistent calendar. All right, so this is too much information. I think people can solve that. That's it, really. Okay. So the I'm going to keep this on here just because I'm using persistent calendar. You don't have to do this. So for me, it's like a psychological thing, but basically what I wanted and what I've had in the past was I would set an alarm in advance of the top of every hour. And what this allowed me to do was to very easily forward any events, or in my case, it's like information or tasks or whatever, to just punt that, what I call punting them to the next hour, or just reschedule them or whatever. So everything I need to pay attention to is on my phone's lock screen. But if there's something on there that I'm not getting to, like there's two on there right now. One is called, it's like a mindfulness reminder thing, which I always forward to the next hour, which now that I think about it, I just thought of a great solution. I have a great solution. I'll explain in a second. So this is going to go off. There it is. So my almost top of the hour event alert just went off, and it's 7:55 a.m. And so basically what this lets me do, it just gives me a few minutes to just kind of drag anything down to the next hour if I need to. And what just dawned on me is that I have a sort of like an every hour event that's just to remind me to kind of be mindful. It's a little more complicated than that, but it's just like a kind of a little bit of a reminder to check in on my mindfulness. And I just realized that what I can do is just, I can use that, but simply have it give me the alert 5 minutes before the top of the hour. Or in this case, I think I want it 10 minutes before the top of the hour. So now, so I can use any of my alerts. The issue was always, if I don't have anything in the next hour, do I want to be bothered by the fact that it's almost the top of the hour, or it's now the top of the hour? When I do have something to do or to remember for a given hour, my attention is automatically drawn to the top of that hour, right? And it's something where if I lose track of time and then all of a sudden it's like the 8 o'clock hour, but I had something scheduled for the 7 o'clock hour, it's like I always kind of have to go back. I don't trust my calendar, or I always feel like I need a security blanket, like to go back and look at, hey, where am I? What did I do? What was on my phone? Have I been ignoring my phone? And sometimes it's just nice to ignore my stupid phone, other than when there's something like new that's popping up. So I'm wondering, I'm pretty sure now that what I'm going to do is delete this, although you won't have one of these, but if you do have something you're just reminding yourself about every hour, then you can actually set that alert to be early. And I think I might do that. So if I go into my mindfulness one and I can go to edit, and all I have to do is say 5 minutes before, or let's say 10 minutes. 10 minutes before. Done. And since I'm going to be dragging that down every hour, oh, but wait a minute, that's a problem. No, that won't work because I'm always going to be wanting that on the screen. No, I'm not. No, I am going to be dragging it down. I don't need that mindfulness reminder to be persistent, like on the screen, like leave that on the screen throughout the whole hour. If I wanted that, then I would make it an all-day persistent reminder from like 12 a.m. to 11:55 p.m. But that's not the way I use this. What I want to do is have this drawn to my attention. And I want it to kind of be, there's nothing special about the top of the hour with this. It's totally fine that I'm reminded to be mindful before I'm reminded of anything else. I mean, that's kind of cool. But it's at 10 till or 10 before each hour. So why don't I do that? And it'll just be like, oh yeah, remember to be mindful, but also get this fucking shit off of your lock screen. I really need to be careful about my language. I have a focus on my language under like the right speech Buddhist principle. I'm becoming a little bit more Buddhist as I go along. This one is actually also a little bit different because I have the first one set for 5 to 8 a.m. Okay, so now I'm getting my 8 o'clock reminders. Okay, so now what I can do, so I'm going to play around with this and see how this goes. Let me get out of here. And, okay, so here's another cool thing. This go slow is not, I don't have it set as a persistent reminder or a continuous reminder. I have it set as an information. It's like an information reminder. It means it's just a strategy or a reminder. It's not anything I have to do. So it's in the blue color. And I just, so I don't have to hide it or anything like that. I could make it a persistent reminder if I just didn't want it to clutter up my calendar. But this one is going to be better to have it be blue and for me to see it because I can just drag it down every hour. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is, since I have it from 5 to 8, because I wanted to see that, but I don't know exactly when I'm going to wake up and see my phone. So usually I'm doing this and like my housekeeping sometime between 5 a.m., really more like 6 a.m. and 8 a.m., in that space, usually between 6 and 7, but sometimes between 7 and 8. Today's a little later because I didn't sleep very well. So I grabbed an extra hour of sleep this morning. So what I'm going to do, though, I'm going to drag this go slow event down to 9 o'clock. And then I'll say for this event only, because it's every morning. Then I'm going to shorten it, which is very easy to do in the iOS calendar app. And now I've got it set to, I've rescheduled it to 9 a.m., but it should retain, and it does, the alert 10 minutes before. So there's no reason why I need to be reminded to be mindful right at the top of the hour. So there you go. So I think because I just did that I am not going to have this slide because I'm not using it and I'm trying to stick with only the things that I'm using. All right, so this is the quick start. Yeah, this is the one. I want to move this up here. Can I move that up here? Or do I have to move this one down here? I'm consolidating some of these. All right, so let's do this because I was working on this quick start targeted information delivery. Let's go to view, film strip, view, full screen, and it looks like I'm going off the page here, but I think I was cleaning this up. And what I want to do, yeah, these are the examples over here. So on the left side of the screen, what does that look like when I do this? Yeah, no, that's the right side of the screen to you. So on my left side of the screen, your left side of the screen should be over that side, is the prescription. And then, or like how to set it up and use it. And then on that side, right side, your right side of the screen, my right side of the screen, are some examples. And so I'm going to play with those, but I'm going to go through here first because I've got a bunch of stuff on my phone, so I've got to do my housekeeping, and I wanted to do that live. But I'm quite excited about the whole mindfulness thing. Now I have a reminder about breakfast. So right now I'm looking at, on my lock screen, I have a drink water event, which just reminds me to drink water. I'm going to leave it on the screen. I'm not in the process of drinking water because I'm drinking my coffee. As long as I drink my water kind of before 10 o'clock or kind of throughout the 9 o'clock hour, I'm fine. I just started at 8 o'clock just because I kind of want it just on my phone, and it doesn't really bother me to have it there. It's just that anytime I can look over there and say, oh yeah, drink water. And because I don't want to wait for it to pop up at 9 just in case I finish my coffee. So that's just kind of like a nag. And then I've got breakfast with my godson, and I don't know when that is either. But I know it's not going to be before 9 o'clock, and it's probably going to be closer to like after 10 o'clock. So, but I'm just popping it up like, hey, don't forget. And I added this directly to my calendar. There was no point in adding this to Gmail or anything because this is actually an appointment. It's not something that I'm going to have to, I don't need a safety net for like tomorrow if this isn't done. Okay, so that's what I'm looking at now. But I need to now go through my normal housekeeping, but looking at my lock screen is going to be the first thing I do before I even get into Gmail. But then what we do is we go over to Gmail. And the first thing that I want to look at in Gmail which is not in this targeted information delivery, right? This slide that we're looking at is just the calendar targeted information delivery. Do I have a slide for Gmail? Because I could work on that. Let me do this. Let me cheat and just go through. We got our examples. Gmail, anxiety-free, morning Gmail review. I don't know if I have an actual oh, here's Gmail. So let's do this one. And also, since I'm working on this, let's drag it up to the top just because. This way, everything I'm working on will bubble up to the top, right? And then I'll know like things I'm just throwing ideas out there kind of will fall down to the bottom. So the first thing I want to look at is the starred. So we go from starred to unread to read, I think. Let's test it. So I'm looking at I'm not looking at my starred view. Hang on. Let's go to starred. Now, by and large, oh, this is reminding me of something right now, but I can't do it. Let me make sure. Let me check this PA battery. It's saying 50%, so I'm not that concerned about it. Let me think. Oh, I have an idea because I know I'm not going to be out with them for 4 hours, right? So why don't I do that? Okay, so let me start at the top. Okay, so I'm looking at the Gmail starred view. And the items in here should be mostly items that I had. Well, let me back up a second. Hang on. That's not true. This is interesting because I do have a different type of starred item now, and that's because I changed my process. But what I need to decide is, do you need to know that? This one's a little tricky because what I am seeing in my inbox right now are the 2 different starred tasks. The unread starred tasks are those kind of tasks that I wanted to do yesterday because I went through and I had a lot of stuff, and it's because it was Saturday, but I knew I wasn't going to be able to get anything done because my godson was in town. Plus, I was also performing. So, wait, today's Monday, so that was Saturday. So I doubt I even did that on Saturday, but it could have been Sunday. The point is that the unread items in here that have stars on them are the things that I none of them were urgent or were going to cause any damage or anything like that if I didn't do them. But if I was able to kind of pick off a few little things for the day, those would have been the ones I wanted to complete. So like I said, normally if there's something that's a true glass ball or there's something that's definitely there's going to be damage, if I must do is the easiest way. I would star those also, but there'd be a lot more intensity to get them done. These are not that. These are just standing out a little bit from the other non-must do's, but they are scheduled. They're things like vacuuming and things around the house that I do periodically. So those things are going to rise above some of the other just things on my to-do list that I should get done sometime or whatever, right? So I'm seeing those now, and I think that they are perfect. I think they are still good, and I'm still going to do these things today. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say, and see if I have this. We have is unread, and then not is starred. Then we have is starred. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make another one that's called primary is starred, okay? And then I'm going to add, and I think I'm going to put it in the front, and I'm going to call it is red. Is colon READ. So now all I'm going to see are the ones that are red. So those the kind of things I wanted to do that I starred, they're not in this view anymore. But when we get done with these, then I will probably revert back to that. So let's do this whole process. And what I think I should do, this is what I'm going to do. I think I just wanted to record these real quick. So let's do this. This is my process in the morning. You know, if there's any obvious modifications you want to make to the process, go ahead. But I don't want to have to. I'm trying to make it really, really precise and simple out of the box without having to preface everything and educate too much. I want people just to be able to use this. Okay, so we got Gmail morning review. And what we're going to do is I'm going to use this exact search. So let's do it. This would be cleaner if we do it like this. Is red. Everything's in the category primary, so I'd rather see oh no, I did the wrong thing when I did this. So it's we want our primary thing is we want to see starred things, right? So we want is starred. That's what we're really looking at. But, right? But we also want the ones that are red. Is red. And then we'll put category primary. Like most of what we're doing is category primary, but I want to be able to see the real distinctions, which are the starred and the red primary. And then we'll come over here. And this is what I'm looking at now. Okay. And then let's put some white space in here just so we know that I'm just keeping that other thing just to keep track of it, or so I don't forget. Okay, so we start with is starred, is red, and category primary. And since I'm doing this, let's get it in the right order here too, because that way it'll show up in my. It saves your searches. So is starred, I like that. Is starred, is red, and then category primary. I just need to paste this in here if I can get. Okay, is starred, is red, category primary, search. All right, that's perfect. So there's only 4 items. Now, I don't want to overwhelm you with all of the whys and all this stuff. Okay, so this search that you're seeing, search is starred, is read, category primary. What these things are things that, for the most part, again, these are the way that I like to think about it is that this is a tool and that's it, right? You can do anything with anything. You can star anything. You can set anything to unread, read. What I like to think about is this is a process that I am doing, and the only real concrete significance or meaning of this search and the stuff that I'm looking at on my screen is just that they're the first things that I'm going to look at. Does that make sense? It's kind of like I'm looking at these things first because of what I'm putting in there, right? So there is this kind of process, and they're by and large, these are going to be things that are safety nets. These are going to be items that, I can even put in here like primary use. Safety net for prior day events. Okay, so whenever I use the word event, let's just say, look, that's the calendar. So that's going to be shorthand, that's going to be abbreviation, or that's going to be what I mean. So these things are safety net tasks for prior day events, right? So yesterday, these things were unread and they were like among the things I wanted to do. And I added these to my calendar as events. So I copy pasted them. And then, but before I left, so I open up these emails, copy and paste the text, put it over in the calendar. And then what I do is I put a star on it and then I snooze it until the next day. And today is that next day. So I'm seeing these things. And now what I want to do is I want to review these things. Did I do them, or do I need to put them on the calendar for today? That's why this is why this is the first step, because these are the things that I chose to put on my calendar. And that means 2 things. One, that they're pretty important. They may not be glass balls, but they were important enough to like put on my calendar. That's the first thing. The second thing is that if I put them on my calendar and they didn't get done, then they may be really important to know that. Okay, so let's just do them. I've got one is called, and this is another interesting thing. It's like I didn't do 2 of these. I was not paying attention to my phone yesterday, and I could have really knocked out. Damn, it would have been perfect if I would have done this, because one of these, the most important of these, of that type is that I'm out of chicken. My chicken expired yesterday. So I was with my godson, and we were at my dad's house, and the grocery is right on the way home from my dad's house. So I wanted to stop at the grocery, and Target is right next to the grocery. And I have this Target gift card from Christmas that I still haven't used because I never go to Target anymore. I don't know how Target's still in business. I cannot, there's no way that I could tell you the last time I went to Target. So I thought this would be perfect, right? Because my swimming pool finally is open, my community swimming pool. But I need some swim trunks. And so I thought that would be perfect. I could go to Target, use my gift card to get a couple pair of swim trunks, then hit the grocery, which is like Target, and then the grocery on my way home. Then they're right next to each other, perfect. And then come home. But then it got a little more complicated because then my son and I decided to go work out. So that didn't happen, and it's not the end of the world. It's not the end of the world, and that's exactly what the purpose of this is to say, oh, I didn't do those two things. Those are probably prime candidates for things to do today, and they are, because today's Monday, I'm off work, I'm going to breakfast with my godson, and so it's a whole rinse and repeat, right? But let's go top to bottom with this and figure that out. But I knew right away I had the swim trunks on the top, and then I could look down and see the chicken on the bottom. And so what we're going to do is we're just going to re-add those two things to the calendar, and we're going to put them with the breakfast, so that while I'm at breakfast, in that hour that I'm at breakfast, all these things are going to show on my lock screen so that I'm going to remember to go to the grocery. If I would have looked anyway, there's a whole story about universe and escape things, but I'm not going to go there. So right now so let's go over to the calendar because I have a placeholder. I've got a placeholder for breakfast with my godson, like I told you. It's in the 8 o'clock hour. The reason it's on my phone lock screen is because I want to remember that I'm having breakfast, right? I have no idea when the breakfast is, but I needed to remember that I was having breakfast. And so right before bed, I just threw this breakfast with my godson on the calendar. And so it's on the calendar for this hour, but I know it's not going to be this hour. I know it's not going to be before, absolute earliest is going to be like 9:30. So I'm going to just go ahead and drag that breakfast down to the 9 o'clock hour. Right now it's 8:23. And so I just know that it's not going to happen. And if it does, it doesn't really matter anyway, because somebody's going to have to call or text me or anything. So it's not even my job to figure out when they want to eat breakfast. Yesterday, I was a little bit concerned about it because of reasons, but it doesn't matter. Okay, so let's drag that down to 9 a.m. So I dragged the breakfast down, and now what I want to do is go back to Gmail, and I'm going to do the exact same thing as yesterday. I'm going to bundle this swim trunk and grocery trip into those, right? So I'm literally, Gmail makes it so easy. You don't have to edit or anything. You just tap, because it's mail, it kind of makes sense, email. But you can just tap and drag and copy the text. It's like one tap, drag, one tap for the copy. And we just go right over to the calendar, and I'm just going to put this right in the same hour, in the 9 o'clock hour, to remember to do that. Now, along with this, let me check. Let me go. Continuous reminders. Oh, that's right. Okay, never mind. So I added the swim trunk one. I'm going to go back and add the chicken one. Oh, and so, but before, I want to now snooze this swim trunk one till tomorrow, right? Just in case it doesn't happen today. So that'll be my safety net. Plus, anyway, too much information. Okay. But I recommend following the exact same process, kind of regardless of what you're doing. So there's nuances and little different characteristics of this task and that and whatever. I'm tending to just, even if I know I may not need it or it's not even that important, I'm still kind of following the same process, and I am snoozing these things for the next day. And I probably need to put this. undone or so we don't even have to star it. We just snooze it, right? And that's what you do. You got this primary use, you got the safety net. So re-add any items to calendar. Something like that. Re-add items to calendar as needed and snooze. Okay, that's kind of, don't turn your brain off. That's basically what I'm doing. That's what this is all about. So I'm just gonna snooze this. Tomorrow is one of the defaults. Bam. Now, if I really wanted to, well, no, I can't do it that way. So now I'm going to go ahead. I'm just going to go ahead down to the chicken because I know that that one's connected. So let's do the same for the chicken. Copy. I want to show you how fast this is, right? Copy, paste, and then back to the Gmail, snooze tomorrow. Okay. So we're talking like 3 or 4 seconds to do this, like in real time. I'm just having to talk a lot and explain it to you guys. And part of what I'm thinking through is like, what do you need to know, right? But I'm also adding, I'm always constantly adding little things. Like I just added this filter or this search to distinguish the red starred items from the unread starred items, right? Sorry. I'm so tempted to point out some other things, but let's not do it. I got so many little side notes and things that I want to share about some of these things, but let's not do that. Let's stick with the mechanics. I guess I would say, as I go through these items, think about maybe what they would be for you, but or think about them in more of a generic way about what you would be doing. But I think that picking up swim shorts or going shopping, going to the grocery and doing that while I'm already out. And I've got another one. And there's another one on here that's called Get Cash, right? So I carry a certain amount of cash on me just for reasons. And but I'm not going to go make a special trip to get cash. But while I'm out and I drive, there's an ATM, there's a cash machine right near my neighborhood. So it's pretty easy to hit, mostly on the way out or on the way back. It's just not that big a deal. But I'm not going to get up and just go over there to get cash. I'm not going to do it. I'm going to have to do it on the way somewhere when it's convenient, or when I'm on the way somewhere that I really want to have cash or something like that. So this is the exact same thing, because this is all bundled together with while I'm out at breakfast, right? And this is the way it was yesterday too. I just didn't do any of these things because I ended up working out with my son, which is great. That was cool. And it wasn't a big deal anyway. It wasn't, if it was a huge deal, then I should have used an alarm or something like that, or I really should have paid attention to my phone. I try not to pay attention to my phone when I'm with the family and stuff like that. But if other people start doing it, then I'll do it, fuck it. So I just added getting cash. So I've got three errands that I can now run while I'm out. Again, not a big deal. By the way, I'm not going to forget that I need chicken. I'm not going to forget it. I need to eat. I'm hungry. So I'm not going to forget. There's no risk to any of these items that I'm actually going to forget them. So honestly, it's sort of like, ultimately, I think I want to get to the point where I still have to reach a balance. Again, this is all side note stuff, but now that I've started mentioning it, now I have to finish it. Is that one of my goals is that I want to better balance the amount of time and energy that I spend trying to take care of my future self and like taking care of my current self, because I'm doing a lot of work trying to make things convenient for my future self, which is great. It's very convenient if I remember these things while I'm out. But none of these 3 items that I just added none of these 3 items that I just added to my calendar are things that I actually am capable of forgetting and like being in trouble. Like I know I need to eat. If I want to go swimming, I know I'm going to have to go get swim trunks. It's just how much do I want to swim, right? And then the cash thing it's just a convenience. I'm like, it's nice to just be able to drive through the cash machine while I'm out. But none of those things. I'm really starting to think the chicken thing is important. Now, here's the other thing. Even if I do need to eat chicken, but I can always go grab Chipotle or something. I use some of my money to accommodate ADHD. I'm unmedicated. I don't pay for any doctors or medicine. And so instead of that, I choose to spending my money on other kinds of accommodations, right? So if I've got to run over and get like Chipotle or something, fine. Plus I can eat Chipotle every damn day, and it's fairly clean. It's a clean food. And my Chipotle is the best. It's the best Chipotle in the city. I was actually shocked when I just went right down the road and I was like, what is this? People were rude, stuff like that. So anyway, one of these days I'm going to be like, I don't want to have all this stuff and I'm going to remember these things. And then maybe if I remember I need chicken or I'm out at Chipotle, maybe that's my plan is later on I'll go get Chipotle. That means I'll be out, right? And then I can run errands while I'm out. Okay. But for right now, I'm also a little bit testing this. This is actually now getting pretty close. This is like a 4.0 now, even just in the last 2 weeks. I mean, my 3.0 version of this was just a couple of weeks ago. And this is a big deviation from that, where I'm doing a lot more stuff in Gmail. Okay, anyway, I got to get through this. So 8:35. So let's go back to, so I've got that on there. Let's go back to calendar, and then the get cash gets snoozed for tomorrow for a safety net. And then we've got it's like a physical therapy thing. Why don't we, I'm going to punt. I'm going to put this one on the calendar for today. It's just a physical therapy thing. I need to do like a stretching. So I'm going to grab that and I'm going to put it. I'm going to put it for next hour too. It seems like I'm overwhelming the 9 o'clock hour, but it's not really. It's just something, this takes like a 1 minute or 2 minutes to do. So I'm just going to throw that there, do the same thing. We're going to snooze it to tomorrow. So basically all of these things, we just added them to the calendar, snoozed them for tomorrow. Now they're going to be no longer in the inbox. And so now we can look at the next thing, which we have our unread items, right? So let me think a second. I think that's what we would want to do. If I look at my Well, let me. What would I want you to look at? Because this is another new thing for me. Um, Let me use this new one. Okay, so let's copy this one. And since this is different, I'm going to put this like in bold so you can see like what the difference is from the top. It's the unread. And let's go there. Now, these are the items I was talking about before. These are the unread like tasks. They're in my inbox. These are things I want to do. And these are the ones I called out that I wanted to do, even though they are hopefully not urgent because I'd be in trouble right now. But these are the ones of all the ones I had, which were, I think, more than a dozen. These, if I had to, like, I just kind of, I looked through them first to say, hey, is there anything that's like absolutely must do for today? And there were none. Then I looked through them again and I said, what are the ones that if I had to pick a subset of these, what are the real ones that I kind of want to get done today? And one of the criteria I used, and this, I think this makes sense, is things that were scheduled, periodic items that were scheduled for yesterday. One example, changing towels. There's two examples of this. One is changing the towels, and the second one is dusting and vacuuming, right? These are two periodic tasks, and they were, scheduled. I usually do them on Sundays, right? But Godson's in town. I'm on vacation today anyway, even though I'm also spending this morning with him, but I should be able to get these done today. So it wasn't a big deal that I didn't get them done yesterday, but I wasn't exactly sure how much time I was spending with my godson, which is another great reason for working these things out of Gmail instead of adding them to the calendar and trying to figure out like, hey, what do I put this on? Do I put it on 3 p.m. or 4 p.m.? I don't know, whatever. No, just put them in Gmail. And then when you have a chance to do something out of Gmail, you go to this view. So this is primary use. And I'm always saying, let's not do primary use because then you're going to have to think about why am I saying that? Purpose doesn't matter. Use, purpose. I'm going to say must do's, or let's just say must do's for right now. So what this I almost don't like this binary sequencing. I almost think that it's almost like periodic. Just trying to think of how to explain this to other people, because this is a little bit of an art. It's a little bit almost as much art as science here. This is what I'd say. Okay. The if you have must do's, then that's what you would star. And binary actually it's non-sequencing. Binary non-sequence. Actually, this is actually, we can think of this as binary non-sequencing, kind of. Let's keep it simple. Let's just say must do's. Period. And then I can explain binary non-sequencing after that, but I don't even think I need to do binary sequencing. These are the must do non-time specific. That's important. Must do's that are not time specific. If any of these are time specific, they need to go into we need to make an event for it. And there's a reason. The reason for that is that it's time specific. So if I can't, for example, if I can't go to the grocery before 10 a.m., I don't want to see it in here because I can't act on it. I want to be able to act on anything that has a star, actually anything actually in the Gmail. But what I'm doing is I'm looking at my must do's and I'm saying, these are the things that are the must do's. And obviously they need to be can do's, right? These are the must do's, and I'm choosing these to be the must do's, and I'm not going to get into any other thing. That's all I want is must do, have stars. Okay. And I have chosen my must do's for today to be changing towels, vacuuming. I've got to charge this speaker. Now this speaker is a time specific. So let's not say not time specific. Let's say must do's. Okay. And then let's get some white space in here again. Add time-specific items to calendar. Add any time-specific items to calendar. Now that implies something else. Now when we go into we have this calendar, targeted information delivery in the calendar, right? Notifications. I'm not talking here about safety net, right? So that's fine. We can talk about safety net in here, right? So this says re-add items to calendar as needed and then snooze them. Then we have down here, add any time-specific items to calendar. And snooze. Add any time-specific calendar items to calendar and snooze, right? So any of these items now, there is this charging my speaker. Now, I think that there's no way I'm going to spend 4 hours with my godson. There's just no way. So I believe that I should charge my speaker, and I really don't think it's that much of a risk or anything, but I think I should plug my speaker in when I leave to go to breakfast, right? So here's a whole nother, I'm adding more things to this 9 o'clock hour that I don't even know when it's going to happen, right? But bear with me because I'll show you how I'm going to deal with that. But so I'm adding that to the calendar to charge this speaker, and then I'm going to go ahead and snooze it, right? And the reason that this was on here is because it was a must-do from yesterday, but I'm not even going to get into that, right? But that's what this is. I'm looking at these things that are still, they're still starred and they're unread, right? And I'm going to put this, let's do this. Read. Did you hear that? Don't know what, oh, so it's 8:50. And guess what? It's 8:50, so my mindfulness thing is telling me, hey, bro. But also now that popped up and it's reminding me to be mindful, I also have this reminder that I've got this drink water calendar entry. So as crazy as this sounds, I need to drag that drink water down to the 9 o'clock hour because it's almost 9 o'clock. Not a problem. I'll show you how to deal with that. And now also, this is the one that I don't know. Oh no, because this I can see because it's blue, right? Yeah. So this is the blue one, and I can find it because it's blue. So I have a lot of things, and you can't really read in any. I've got 8 things all for 9 a.m., right? So it sounds chaotic, but I know which one is blue. So it just happens to be like workout where I can just drag that down to the 10 o'clock hour. And again, that's going to remind me that a new hour is coming up. It's going to remind me to be mindful, dual purpose, kill 2 birds with 1 stone, love it to death. And so I'm just going to drag that down. So now if I go back to my phone's lock screen, it's empty. It's 8:51 a.m. So it took me 1 minute to do that. And I have an empty lock screen so I can breathe. And I also know that I'm going to be notified of anything that is now happening at 9 a.m. And if there's nothing at 9 a.m., I'm also not, then I'm going to be free. I'm not going to hear anything at all because that was the only thing I heard was that mindfulness reminder. And that's something I don't mind hearing. So I'm just playing around with that idea. I can always get rid of the mindfulness thing, but the whole reason I have it on my calendar is because I want that hourly check-in with how am I doing for mindfulness. So it's all sort of working out. But if I ever just wanted to like dig into a project and not get distracted with anything. And I knew I had carte blanche, which means there's nothing that I have to do today. Then I could just choose not to even have the mindfulness reminder, you know, because I'm just like, but even then I think I would want to bask in what I call carte blanche and stuff like that. And just kind of remember, hey, look, bro, you should be living the life today. All right. Oh, let me make this bold. Just want to call out that we're talking about read versus unread down here. Okay. Back to Gmail. Wait a minute. Hang on. Charge speaker. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. This is a different. Wait, what? Do I have two? I think do I have two of these items? I've got one called charge speaker and AA batteries. And then I've got one that's just called charge the PA speaker. Hang on. Okay. This is okay. You don't even want, just don't even, because I had an extra one in here and there's a reason for why I did this way. And I probably want to go ahead and charge both of these things. Yeah, so I'm going to delete this extra. I had an extra one. So we did the, yeah, sorry, never mind. Doesn't matter. This is just a duplicate thing that I had a reason for doing, but it kind of does remind me of how important it is to realize that everything I'm telling you is just things that work, like things that you can do. You can have starred things, you can have read things, you can add them to your calendar. You can put a star on something and you can make that star mean whatever you want. In my case, I'm putting stars on things that remind me that they're either as a safety net or as a must do. And I know the difference between them because it's already encoded in the data. The safety net items are read, the must do's are unread. So, and I have the ability to search for all these things. Okay, now let's go back to our starred unread. Okay, so now I don't know when I'm going to change the towels. It's sort of stupid because it doesn't take any time. But in my must do items for basically my must do to-dos, right, are change towels, dust and vacuum. And then I've got this recharge and figure out, I know what this one is. This one's not that important, but I decided that it was going. So I've got another must do that just needs to stay in here. Okay. Now here's now an interesting nuance, because all I need to do now is just follow my lock screen, because that's like in 4 minutes, all of those things are going to come up onto my lock screen, and I'll explain. I'll still be doing this because I'm still finishing my coffee and stuff like that. So I'm enjoying this so far. We're still. And so I'll explain all those things. But here's the thing. Did I add anything to my inbox yesterday, right? Because anything that came in new yesterday may be more important than these things. And so the first thing I want to do is I just want to look at my inbox and see if I can tell. I think I'll be able to tell, because these things will either be, let me just look, hang on. how do I find the new items? What if I look at just unread? Do I have just an unread? I'm going to look at, I'm doing a new search and it's is unread category equals primary. I'm not going to get into this this is not going into this Gmail review because honestly, what you need to do is keep it simple and you've got your must do's. If you've added more things and you know you've had must do's or so, let's just not you can't get into every corner case, every permutation of everything in the universe. That's why I keep emphasizing that this is how I do things, but there's always another way that I can use these tools. And ultimately, the real truth is that calendars, the calendar, how did I say this? Did I say this on the calendar thing? Hang on. Did I say this? Yes. The only real truth here is that the calendar is for this targeted information delivery, or everything's targeted information delivery. The calendar is for time-specific information delivery. And Gmail is for pulling stuff. So it's almost like calendar is more like push, and that's because of time specificness. And Gmail is more for pull. That's all that matters with this. And then all the rest of how I'm implementing these things, the scenarios and the types of things I'm trying to remember are just all nothing's off the table in terms of how I use these tools. It's like I have to decide, like, hey, what is the nature of this memory, this recall of information that I need, right? And then what's the best? Is it Gmail or is it calendar or is it the alarm? Because it's essentially what we're doing. Now, here we go. 1, 2. Oh, so I had so many reminders that it gave me 1, and then it says I have 6 new reminders. I like that. I like it. I like that because it's ridiculous, right? So I don't know where the limit is, but that's pretty funny, right? Love it. Love that. So far, I'm really, really liking this because on 4.0, is it 4.0? No, I think it's 3. Yeah, 3.0 was where I started using notifications more in general. But then it's 4.0 where I'm moving a lot of stuff over back to Gmail. Okay, so if I look at these, I can see items that are new because let's see, today, today's July 22nd. Okay. And I can see one that I added at 3:20 this morning, right? So I know that one. I also have one that was added on July 20, but today's the 22nd. So this new one that was added at 3 this morning is like obviously something I'm worried about. So I can see it. I can see the things that were snoozed 1 week ago. I can see things that were snoozed 4 weeks ago. So these things are not it says 3/8 and it was snoozed 4 weeks ago. So it's kind of hard to see. I've got one that's called clean dishwasher, and I'm not really sure whether that one was new or not. I'm pretty sure I remember seeing it. So I know it wasn't. I know it's not new today, right? I know these things that came in that were new. So this is just confusing the hell out of you guys. So I don't even want to, I'm trying to figure out what I would normally do. And so basically we have these must do's. And what I would say is that the next thing you would do is look at I would look at the red items, just like you can see down at the very bottom of this slide. Because, and it sounds weird, but you haven't done these start items yet. Okay, so after the Gmail morning review, you're still wanting to focus on these start items. And if you're not going to focus on the start items, then why are you having them? Like, the whole point of this is to have focus. Like, what's like a 2-tier? It's like must-dos should all be done. They all need to be done, so you can do them in any order, which I should explain. Let me explain that. I'm not even going to say that. I'm going to say top to bottom. And then that's after this, like after the review. Right? I just wanted to clarify that's after the morning review, but this slide's really more about the morning review. So we have this search equals is starred and is unread category primary. You really shouldn't be like making this a search is going to be a little confusing. So this is confusing. But you still want to see them, I think. No, this is what I think. This is what I think you really should do. You should not search for these. I searched for them, but let's make it simple. Let's take the start off, and we'll say search is unread category primary purpose to star must do's. And then the search like that, not like that, like this. Okay, that's the search that you perform after you perform your identification of the must-dos, and that's up to you. I've got all kinds of whatever to help with that, but that's what this process is about. We're looking at the safety net from yesterday, and then we're going to look at the unread items in the inbox, and we're going to find our must-dos. Now, even if I did that, it would work. It just so happens I already have some starred from yesterday, and that's just okay. There's nothing that's, and when I perform the must-dos from, even if I don't see those somehow, I'm going to see them. They're right here. They're right here. So I'm going through and starring things, and once I go through and star things, it's like I already have the ones that are starred from yesterday, which helps me. So there's just nothing, there's no reason to even fret or worry about any of this. Step one, look at the safety nets and figure out what to do with those. Most likely, you're just going to want to re-add them to the calendar or just delete them because they're done. Step two, figure out your must-dos. Okay, and then step three is kind of to do those to-dos, but we're not there yet. So now when I'm looking at my, step three is going to be, hang on. So this is, now we're in step 2. We're looking at the unread items, and then we're adding any time specific items to the calendar if we can even do that. And we kind of did that, but really the only ones we added were the holdovers from yesterday, which makes sense because those were on the calendar, which is why they're in the safety net status. And obviously the nature of them is such that I need to be out of the house, right? So it all works out beautifully. Okay, now, and so and those things that are red because they were added to the calendar, and they were added to the calendar because they were time specific, and that makes them probably more important to kind of add back. They're also, because they're time specific, they're also must do's, right? You shouldn't be putting shouldn't have a whole lot of time specific stuff that's not a must do, especially if you have actual other must do's that you got to do. Okay. So anyway, that's way overthinking it. Okay. So we're doing the safety net. Then we're looking at all of our candidates, which is basically our to-do list. And our to-do list there's a lot more in our primary or in our inbox other than unread items, and that we're going to get to those in a second. But next step is, let's look at all of those to-dos, okay? And those to-dos are indicated by being unread. So they're bold, and so we're doing this search equals unread, okay? Category primary, whatever. Most of what we do is category primary. That's why I put that at the end of the search. So I'm not going to read through all these. I'm just going to do a quick cursory kind of look at these things to see if there's any must-dos, okay? If I see any that I can delete, I'll go ahead and delete them. And like I'm going through these, I'm seeing these ones that are starred, and I still agree. I still want to do those, so that's good. There's one that I've got the star. Oh, that's something. Yep. Got some things on here that aren't really even tasked, but that's okay. They're like new things. So I don't even have to worry about what was snoozed, what's new, what's old. Everything I just said, just forget about all of that. And then now the kitchen, I want to make that, I'm going to make that one. I'm going to make that a must do, even though I know these aren't really must do's, but they're the ones that I'm deciding they're kind of must do. I'm going to do them. I want to do them, whatever. This is more about this whole explanation of the calendar in Gmail is all around empowering you and me to deliver information, whether it gets actually delivered to me or I can pull it to deliver it. So there's it's almost like calendar really is more delivery, like push, and Gmail is more reference, like I can pull it. But I also want, when I go into Gmail, I want to be able to like focus, pulling the things that I've decided that I really want to pay attention to. And those are these starred items. Okay. And are any of these now? Okay. So I did that. So I looked at the unreads, and now what I want to do is I've starred the must do's, but now I want to add any of these must do's to the calendar. So now to do that, I want to use over here, you see the search is starred and unread. Those are my new must do. So let's look at those now. It's basically back to that other view. Is starred, is unread. And are any of these time specific? No. So this is I've got 4 things. They're in here. I can even start on them now because I don't know when breakfast is, right? But I'm probably not. I'm probably going to work these after breakfast. You know, it's been a whirlwind. I've spent the whole weekend almost with my godson. Actually, the whole like Saturday, I need to go back and look at that. Let me look at this. And the only reason I'm bringing it up is because it has to do with, let's go to Saturday, farmer's market. Harry's Saturday. Yeah, because yesterday was Sunday. Let me put this in here. I want a recording of a record of what I did. So that I'm not too hard on myself, because I know I was at my dad's house until like all day. I went to Jeffersonville, like I went to this, I went to farmer's market, and then I went straight to my dad's, and I was there the whole day. And then yesterday was all day until, and this was with Trevor. Just want the idea, because then I worked out with Trevor. Let's see here, something like this. I don't know what it was exactly. Something like that. And then we got today. So yeah, all like I literally had breakfast with my godson and was with them the entire time, the entire day, because they had like a party from like 12 to 4 with other people coming in, and then I was there, and then my son came over, but my daughter was with breakfast. So it's been like the whole time, and now I'm going to have breakfast again if they're leaving town today. Okay, what was the next thing? Let's go back to here. And so I'm all set up for the day now. Now I do have all of these things popping up at 9 o'clock, but remember, this is all information. It looks overwhelming. Oh, it says 6 more items. So I've got 7 total. Okay. And I told you, I promised I was going to explain like how to do that. But before I do that, there's one other thing I need to do. Obviously I always want to do the lock screen, you know, and I would normally, my morning review does not take this long. It's my morning review. Now that I've got all this going like this, it's very fast. This entire, everything I just talked about today, if I wasn't doing the slide, not talking to you, it would have been 10 minutes. Except maybe I don't know if I changed anything about my process today. I changed how I'm communicating it with you guys. But there's one more thing we need to do, and that is the red items. So I'm going to go back into Gmail. I'm going to click on the X next to the search of what I was looking for these starred on reds, just to make sure none of those need to be scheduled. And then what I want to do is I want to look at the red items. Let me see if I've got them. I've got starred in red. That's the other one. That's the first one. What I need is the red and not starred. Okay. Let me do this one. And I'm also going to, I want to change this so that the category primary is at the end. So I'm just going to go ahead and clean this up so that this cut, put this at the end, paste. So now, and I'm going to have what we have now, which is red. So again, let's make this bold. Well, wait, hang on. Let's bold it after I'm finished with the thing. It doesn't matter, but is red, that's microsequencing. Is red not is starred, and then category primary nobody cares. Okay, and then let's do this because we're going from unread to red, right? What happens if I make this bold? That doesn't really help very much. So you just have to remember it's really not is starred equals not starred, whatever. What if we do this? This is so like overthinking. Oops. Okay, so I'm putting a little highlight there. So now what we're doing is we get rid of this now. Now what we're going to end up with is very, very like third and fourth tier kinds of importance, but mostly this is going to be our .w and .s. I'm getting really careless here. So it gives you the .w and it gives you the .s. The .w, or this is not exact, but basically the .w is like stuff I'm waiting on. Okay, and I can review those too. I can review the .w's. Probably want to just kind of look at them to make sure that there's nothing I need to follow up on, but I don't want to be, I don't want I keep saying the second half of my life is not going to be like the first. And I'm just not going to be chasing after people to save them from themselves. So when it's a .w, it's out of my court. Okay. But in some cases, these are like my daughter, and I do actually have to pester her a little bit about some things. Okay. But I definitely want to review the strategies because these strategies are here because I want to implement them. Okay. So that would be done like this. Starting to run out of space. Hold on a second. I wonder if I should just do the .s's and then what's going to be left is the .w, but not really because you're still going to have the starred and I know I'm going to need the .s's. Hang on a second. All these are red, right? So for you, maybe for you, yeah, okay, this is what we're going to do. left swipe. That's what I think we should do. And I'll show you why this is the case. And it doesn't matter whether you've got w.w.s. You don't even have to have those. I've got them, and maybe you don't even need to know them. But maybe what you want to know is there are other things in your inbox that I think you're going to want to mass snooze. So I'm going to say this. Yes, it fit in there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to left swipe through all items. To review all items, then I'm going to mass snooze them. So let's do it. Now, obviously, the fact that I know I'm going to snooze everything, if there is anything that for any reason I need to think about today or whatever, do something with it. But these are kind of designed to be mass snoozed. All right. So I'm going through some of these. I have labels on some of these things. I can't tell you what not to do because don't do anything other than what I do. Okay. Don't go out on your own with this because it's fucked up. It's so many bugs. But I have these labels that are called .w and .s. .w means I'm waiting for somebody. So my daughter needs to get her full license. She's got like this restricted license, and all she needs to do is go to get it, but she needs me to go with her. Okay. Well, I'm busier than her, but she is got to take the lead, because unless she tells me, I'm just not going to play the games. Okay. It's for her, whatever. So I'm waiting on her. So she's got to reach out to me. I told her it's in her court. That's that. There's this a really, really not important thing. And so sometimes these really super unimportant things, but things I might want to do, but they're just so unimportant that I don't even have them to be unread. So I'm swiping through these. There is this is another thing. This thing, I'm waiting for it. And I think I sent this to my daughter to ask her if she gets these emails. This one bothers me a little bit. I might look at this one more tomorrow, but since I'm doing this, maybe not right now. I've got a billing notice. I never got this. Okay, so somebody owes me something again. I'm not going to do something like this today or even tomorrow, but I'm just going to flip through these. Now here's a strategy. So I definitely want to read these strategy ones. I've got the strategy around the language that I use. I want it to be more mindful language. Excellent. So I do have this. I did leave a message about this bill. Text messages. I have sent text messages to myself. This is a reminder of or no, I don't. I don't have any text. So I'm keeping the text messages clean. Love it. Yep. Another strategy thing. Yeah, that's fine. Strategy things. This is about taking care of myself in the present, but also the future, but also know that my previous self has my back. Yep, flow. This is very fast to go through these. I love these. Every one of these so far, I really like. Yep, another one. Got these slides. Forgiveness. Hang on a second. This one's a big one. Well, I know that's a big deal. Same. I don't think sorry, I thought I might have to do something for one of these. And some of these items, I also have this thing called .q, but it doesn't really matter. It's labels have different colors. And so I'm just using this .q that happens to be purple. And when I have several items that are related, I will label them. And I do this at work too, because it can look overwhelming when you have a lot of stuff in your inbox. But if you know they're all related, then it's not that big of a deal. Plus, I can go look at any of these things and see them all together. So there's that. Oh, I've got one of these that tells me not to do this. Technology to work for me. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 24. There should be 24 items. There's a bug in the swiping. I don't want to get you into that yet because it might be better, but I said 24, right? So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to mass snooze all these items. 24. So I'm going to select the top one, select all, I get 24. Okay? That's just me getting burned. And also while I'm swiping through these things, I've also had a problem where swiping through these, they're out of order and I might get one twice. It's really a shit show, but I'm wondering if in the inbox, it doesn't mess up. But when you go into like the label view, it doesn't work with the swipe and it's also suspect. But I can handle that because I know that I'm not going to lose anything and that's in my inbox. It's kind of in my way. But if I can go use one of these views, anyway, you don't need to worry about that. Okay, so I'm going to take all of these and I'm going to snooze all of them for tomorrow because they're all for every day. But I can just move them all, so I'm not worried so much about the volume of what's in my inbox. So it's now 9:30 a.m. I've been talking to you for an hour and 45 minutes. Let's see now what's next, because I think I have right here on the right side of your screen, you see after morning review, it says perform the must do's from top to bottom. And that is what you do. Of course, we have the lock screen and everything, but when we think about Gmail, that's what this is about. Inside Gmail, we're doing the must do's, and the must do's are the starred and the unreads, which are those 4 things. And in this case, these are must do's. Like I'm using the must do process just to kind of call these things out, because they're the ones, like these 4 things are really far and away more important than the rest of the stuff. So I'm declaring these to be my must do's. And if I get these 4 things done, then I can do the rest of these items in any order. Doesn't matter, because even these are not really must do's, right? But I definitely don't want to do any of the other ones before doing these. That's just by definition. So, and I don't have to work these in any order. I can just do them in any order, which is where I got wrapped around the axle too much in the calendar. But if anything is time sensitive, then it goes into the calendar, regardless of how important it is. But again, those things kind of go together, right? Something's not time sensitive unless it's kind of important. So for the by and large, your time sensitive things are actually going to be even more like a subset of your must do's. Okay, so this is the Gmail morning review process. I talk about the interface out to calendar of the time sensitive things. But other than that, we've got our prioritized to-do list. Now, if I go out of here, and I think I'm in the, says primary, that's 17 things now in my primary inbox, right? And all of these things can be acted upon, but there are starred things that I'm just going to do first. If it really didn't matter what I did first at all, then I would just work these from top to bottom. So you have to be honest with yourself. It's like, are any of these not like the other? Like almost like that Sesame Street. Is any of these not like the other? Whatever that song or that puzzle or whatever it was. And the truth is that yes, some of these are not like the other. And in this case, it's periodic things that I'm kind of need to do regularly on these intervals. And those are the ones that are standing out while the other ones are all valid. If I wanted to, I could always look in here and say, wait a minute, are any of these, I don't know if I did this as part of this. Unread, I said search, starring the must do's, right? So I already did that. I had these ones that were already starred, but another thing I could have done, which I'm not going to do because I don't need to do it, but I could always clean this up and say, I'm looking at this list and saying what things are must do's. I could also look at the list and say, which one of these things do I just need to get out of this list? But I don't care. I'm not worried about that yet. But I do have criteria. And when I look at the must do's, maybe it's a good idea to cascade these and just like do the must do's and then look at the list again and say, hey, do any of these stand out? Because they're definitely not going to be must do's because I already did the must do's. So it's almost like this, hey, do any of these stand out? Is there anything on here that you just clearly kind of want to do? And if there's not, then what do? Just work it from top to bottom. It can't be both. You can't, it's one of those things. It's kind of like when I tell people, it was about the scheduling. Basically, I tell people to work your list top to bottom. And then they'll come in and they'll say, well, what about this? What about that? Like, what if something's due at 2 p.m.? The question that they're asking answers their own problem, right? So it's like I try to give people a way to do something, but don't ever turn your brain off. Obviously, I think the answer is that if you have something due at 2 p.m., or even better, let's say you've got something due at 10 a.m., of course, that's the first thing you want to do because nothing else is due before the actual 11:59 p.m. So of course you want to do. In general, I highly recommend doing things in the order that they are due. But when I talk about must do's and doing them in any order, these are the things that are must do today. Like as in 11:59 p.m., not at any particular time of the day today, because obviously those things need, so you can overcomplicate it. You can have too many rules, but you can't ever turn your brain off with this. What this is this is a very simple, well-defined process whereby you can go through 3 types of to-dos and then make them just have absolute focus throughout the rest of your day without getting wrapped around the axle with specifically when anything needs to be done. What you do is you just follow your lock screen. And if there are any must do's, you could even add to your calendar to check those must do's. But I don't want to do all that. I want to make this as simple as possible. And so to me, let me look at this for a second and see if this is the answer to the universe here. So I'm not even going to look at these. I'm going to go back into my starred unread. Like I said, these 4 things, but I'm not even going to look at that. Oh, we got to go do, so it's now 9:38, right? And remember, I had all of these things that are tied together and stuff. So let's go look at my lock screen, because the lock screen always takes precedence. If there's something in Gmail that needs to take precedence over anything in my lock screen, because here's the thing. This is the way that I am going to do this. I'm going to work my lock screen until it's blank. And then when it's blank, I'm going to go work Gmail. That's it. Let me do it this way. If I go to starred, and then the next one I would go to, I believe, if I go back just to primary to make sure I'm not missing anything. Yeah. It would be it's the not starred, but as we work the starred items, they're going to be moved, right? This is essentially the process. Now, notifications will bring us back to the lock screen. Okay. How about that? The lock screen takes precedence, but when the lock screen's blank, we can say until something like that, right? So if you really need a very, very well-defined 100% solution without any question whatsoever, it's you do your Gmail morning review. Then you work the lock screen because you're taking the items during your Gmail review, you populate your calendar with those Gmail items. The calendar also has routine tasks and information delivery, like strategies and information about whatever. And then, and that calendar event is going to generate a notification on your lock screen. So now it's like all the time sensitive stuff. By definition, time sensitive stuff goes into calendar, which generates the lock screen notifications. Those things need to be done or they need to be delayed. They need to do or delay, right? And so once your lock screen's blank, now it's time to go over to Gmail. Now you can have carte blanche, so that's how you work the calendar in Gmail. Do the calendar review. That adds things to do the Gmail review. That adds time-sensitive things to the calendar. Now those things are time-sensitive, so that becomes your focus until it's blank. Once it's blank, you can revert back over to Gmail to do the must-dos. Okay? And then in the Gmail morning review, this is one. You got 3-step process. You've got the safety net. You've got the to-dos to identify the reviewing of the to-dos to identify the must-dos. And then you have the red items, which is where you're looking at, you're just reviewing everything, and it's just all of the strategy type stuff. If you're waiting on other things, strategies. Now you don't even have to do that 3rd step. You can even have you can actually have an item that tells you whether to even do step 3, right? Okay. So you can use these communication mechanisms, and then of course there's these concepts of intersections and stuff like that, which are just natural. One of the things is to not have anything in here, and that's where the art comes in. And that's what I'm going to be doing now after this. This is probably like my intro communication that I'm going to share with people, and I'll always be able to come back and reference this. But then what I'm going to be doing is in my confessionals or my housekeeping videos is I'm just going to be following this to the letter. But instead of like really going into it and spending time documenting it like I did today, I'm just going to be going through the motions. And so there really is, there's my mindfulness reminder. It's also serves a dual purpose that we talked about it. This is one of the things I did develop. So this is like 4.1 because of this today, 4.01, if you will. And now that's reminding me that it's almost 10 o'clock and I've got all these things at the 9 o'clock hour that probably just need to be dragged down to 10. So I love that, because there is nothing magical about when I need to be reminded to be mindful. So I'm going to go ahead. Let me do that. Since I'm on here, might as well go through that process. So in Gmail, I want to leave Gmail up with the starred unreads. These are these 4 items that I've chosen to serve up to myself as things that I do actually want to do today. None of them are must-dos, especially since there's a whole context thing here, but I'm not going to get into that. Maybe I'll sprinkle in some of these advanced strategies and concepts, but the fact that, not only are these things not must-dos, I also am off work tomorrow, right? So it just so happens that I'm off work tomorrow. And so I spent this whole weekend with my godson, which is friggin' awesome. I happened to be off work obviously the weekend, but I was also off work Friday. I'm also off work today and tomorrow, which helps me because they're going back home today, which means I can get all these things done tomorrow. So it's all good in the hood. Plus, I've got more vacation time coming up the following week, the week after next. I'm off the whole week. So it's like none of this stuff is stressful. Okay. It's a little stressful spending all this time with my godson, but it's not because of him. It's because of the people that come along with him. But it's okay. So we want to go and before 10 o'clock, it's just so much easier to drag these things down before you get to the 10 o'clock hour so that these things are included in the 10 o'clock notifications, right? So let's go over here. And I can move these things down and then I can read them as I move them down. They'll get easier to read, but you can also long press on any calendar. Anyway, we'll get to that later. Most of these things are things I just can't do because I'm waiting to leave the house, right? So these things are like errands, or they're things I want to start right before I leave the house, like charging my PA speaker and stuff like that. So, and then I've got the reminder that the chicken is expiring. So I'm just dragging these things down. I can see them. It's a breakfast is coming up, right? I'm still kind of on hold, I guess, for what. And now I drink water is a kind of an important one. That's one that's actually kind of important. And I've got another errand that I can run while I'm out. So I'm going to actually turn on. Well, I'm not going to do anything because I know in 7 minutes, all these things are going to come back in. I still want to finish my coffee. I can now be comfortable that all these changes are saved. See document status. It says all changes are saved. Love it. I'm very excited about these 2 slides. And so I've captured everything in this slide. I'm ready to share this with people. And it's possible. I might have two versions of this where I talk about this step 3, this note. I really have to think about whether I want to talk about that third step, because really what's going on here is just 3 things, and that's across Gmail and calendar. In my calendar, stuff in my calendar shows up on my lock screen, but I use Gmail as a safety net, and that's one of 2 big things in Gmail. I use Gmail as my to-do list. I use it as a safety net when I add to-dos to the calendar because they're time sensitive. And that's it. I got like this, the must do distinction using the star, but you don't have to use a star, but that's what I'm saying. Okay. I'm saying star your must do's. Any of those that are time sensitive, add them to the calendar and snooze them. And then, but before you even review those, look at what you starred yesterday. So if you look at what you starred yesterday, then you're going to deal with those somehow. Like if you added them to the calendar, then by definition, they're time sensitive. Now, if they're no longer time sensitive or something, you can then make them unread and treat them just do whatever you want to do if something changes. But we're not going to get into all that. What this process is even during the Gmail morning review, though, I think you look at the lock screen. I hate the way they format those things. So you look at your lock screen, then you do your Gmail morning review, which is on the slide before. I could even do this process for everything now that I think about it. 3, so after you're done with that, you work the lock screen till it's blank. Then you do your must-dos, and then you can do your non-must-dos if you want to, right? It's up to you, but I don't think I even want that. I'm trying to get this to be as absolutely simple as possible. So if I go in here and I look at this Gmail review and I have all this safety net, you're working the lock screen. and then you're working Gmail. This Gmail review, I don't care, right? That's it. That's it. Now all my things have come up for 10 o'clock. I love that bell. It's very loud and it's fairly short enough to receive multiple notifications and the banner drop down. Love it. And it's distinguished from the alarm. And of course the alarm, it's a different sound than the alarm, just period, end of story. And now Gmail's open on those 4 things. I don't care. I've got my universal. I don't care, because now all I need to do is if I've got Gmail in the background, I drag down to my lock screen, and that's going to contain my calendar. Now, anything that comes in, the other thing that's on my lock screen is all my notifications from like when my godson wakes up, it's ready for breakfast, if they're even going to do breakfast. I don't even care. I'm not reaching out to anybody. Fuck it. But they might be hanging out, whatever, and then they know they want to, I don't know. It was their idea to have breakfast. My daughter's actually supposed to be doing breakfast, but again, I'm not worried about her either. She knows that. She was there. She might not even not want to do it because of one of the people that are there. 2 of the people are there. One of the people. Well, if there's 2 of them, it's going to be even worse because they're just annoying people. And so I'm looking at these. I can't act on these. Now, not being able to act on these is okay. It's normally not going to be like this, but this is just part of having ADHD. I'm waiting for these folks to wake up. I'm in limbo. And I have all these things I want to remember. Now, like I said, I can be drinking water. I'm going to do that right now. Let me just grab my water. I have water here, but I need to freshen it up. Also, I think I might want to get a new cup. So I'm really, really in limbo. And I keep, I'm spending so much time with you guys on these streams because I'm idle, like I'm stuck. There's really nothing I can do, but I am enjoying my coffee, and I'm enjoying kind of really honing the process, optimizing the process, simplifying the process. And I'm not even sure, I'm not entirely sure. No, because we do have the information delivery. So this is a push versus pull process. I can always nudge and refer myself to to Gmail. Okay. But I don't need to refer myself to the lock screen. That's the whole purpose of the lock screen. It's like, hey, what am I supposed to be doing? What am I doing now? What do I need to know now? What do I need to remember now versus what do I need to remember today? And like, it's the today stuff that's in Gmail. And that some of those today things may end up needing to be a specific time, but I don't know yet or whatever. I have a clarity in the morning of the day in question that I never have like before that day. Right. And so I just, none of this, I'm not using the calendar at all for tomorrow. It's always today, my calendar, because I'm generating these things coming into my phone. Now at 3 a.m. this morning, no, yesterday night, yesterday evening, but again, this is an actual appointment. I have breakfast with my godson sometime, it's actually now, this is my breakfast time. So I'm actually now into like suffering. So actually, you know what? That could actually be gone. But they kept talking about where we're going to eat and stuff. So no, it's not that. It's just that they must have stayed up really late last night. I wouldn't be surprised about that. Okay, so let me go through this. There is one of these items is I want to charge my PA speaker, which would be kind of a perfect thing to do like right before I leave the house. I don't want to do it too early because then I don't want to overcharge it. Okay. But I know I'm not going to be out for more than 4 hours. So it'd be perfect for me to get it charging so it can be charging while I'm out. Okay. Just like when you want to if you want to throw in some laundry before you go and run a quick errand. And then by the time you're back, you can move the clothes from the washer to the dryer. Okay. Now we have drinking water, and this is one that I want to do. I want to get aggressive with this right now. So I'm going to use a timer for this. This has nothing to do with what I'm presenting today, but it's on my screen. And so I'm acting on it. It's called drink water. And it is something that not only I can do, but I'm actually late. I would normally be wanting to hydrate like earlier. So what I'm going to do, there's a lot of things I can do. Let's just set a timer. Set 3-minute timer.
3 minutes, starting now.
Now that timer is set, I can elect to kind of get the drink water part out of my way. And I think I am. I think I'm just going to go ahead and get it out of my way because I've now elevated that to like timer status. So now it's like a focus item. I'm going to get nagged forever. So it just doesn't need to be in here. It was presented to me as something I needed to remember to do. And now I'm taking action on it. Of course, I want to finish my coffee first, but you get the idea. Then I've got brushing and flossing my teeth. That is, again, something I want to do right before I leave, but I'm drinking. So I can't brush my teeth. And then, you don't want to do that. You want to do it afterwards. And I usually do it after breakfast, but you get the idea. Then I've got the whole errand, and then I have the actual breakfast, which is the thing I keep waiting on. Then I have another errand, and then I have my physical therapy thing. And then I've got like my mindfulness thing, which it was 8 minutes ago, but I always get that alarm set 10 minutes early. So at 10:50, I'm going to get an early reminder of this mindfulness thing. Now, when I see this mindfulness thing, it's like it really is a check-in, because right now I am in limbo, but I'm enjoying doing the stream. It's almost nice to like have something like this to do, because I know I don't want to play my guitar. I've been really wanting to document this stuff and get it really tight. And so this is all great. And I need to remember that it's Monday I'm going to be able to see my godson. Unfortunately, there's going to be other people there. I'd really like to get some alone time with him or with more time with his cousins, but it's just what it is. And honestly, they like each other. They're not bonded because of this problem where the cousin comes in and the cousins aren't the priority. And I don't know what it is. I think it's just a narcissistic thing. And it's sad because people really should be together. Anyway, it's all working out. I honestly could go either way with breakfast. Here's my drink reminder. I'm going to hit repeat on this timer. That's why I like the timers, because you can repeat them. So that's what this mindfulness thing is. It's not exactly mindfulness. There's more to it. Let me bring this up. There's several mindfulness related sort of trigger keywords that I have. Now this one is, this mindfulness reminder is here. It's done its job. But now what I want to do is this is one of these things. Okay, I just did it. You just saw me do it. I didn't say anything. I was just kind of thinking about it, thinking, okay, yeah. Now this is now done for this hour, but I want to have the same thing happen at the next hour, right? So this one I can drag down. Very easy to identify because it's blue. That one's now off my list. It's the one thing that I could do. Let me make sure I know I'm going to have to brush my teeth, and I want to brush my teeth right before. There is the breakfast. There's only two things I need to do before I leave for breakfast. And that is, I need to charge this speaker and I want to brush my teeth. And I kind of know that. I can look here and say, what are the things I can do? But again, like I said, I can't brush my teeth now because I'm doing the water, but that's okay because I'm being reminded through the timer to do that. And everything else is either the breakfast itself or errands I'm going to be running while I'm out at breakfast. So we're good. And then I can get into other things too, like my routine and the fact that I'm going to be going to the gym this evening. I'm going to be working in actual meditation. I've got a meditation reminder or mindfulness reminder, but I also do proper meditation. I've got meals and stuff like that. But other than that, I just have these 4 items that I might work on today, but that I could easily do tomorrow. And so everything's really good. I just want to remember that. Aha! Okay, so he's asking us to go to breakfast. So we're like, they're up. They're going to probably act quick. And my daughter's on this group chat. That makes it easy. So we're ready to go. So now I've got to start thinking right now. I don't know how fast all this is going to happen, right? But I know that I want to charge my speaker. Again, not a huge deal, but it would be nice to go ahead and get it charging. And then brush my teeth, right? We're both asking when. So my daughter's going to drive separate. It's Monday. She may have something going on. I don't know. This is another thing I've been toying with the idea of, and this would be something where I'm thinking about shooting a documentary. I've already shot some footage for a documentary, and that is where it's real time, just me on the phone, like selfie video, like, hey, now I'm getting ready to do this now. And then I think I'm going to do that. And so I'll check in with you after this. And so people can follow me throughout my entire day with everything that is kind of going on with me, but with that angle, that perspective of like, how am I coping throughout the day? I think I call it accommodation station is one of the ideas for like that. Call it the accommodation station. And so it's just me going through my life and talking about nothing other than how I am accommodating memory impairment. And that's it. And honestly, that is kind of what I'm doing more than the broader executive function. I have the broader executive function stuff largely in place. And that is, I've solved a lot of that through habits and routine, really. And, I don't need a reminder that I need to go to the gym. Okay, so this is going to happen really fast. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and end the stream. And now I'm going to check in with the documentary if you want to see that. That'll be not a stream. I'm going to start the documentary officially today. And I'm going to start documenting